Hello guys and welcome to Suzuka for another edition of F1 2015 Predicts. First of all, I have to apologize for this video being out a little bit late. You know, there's not too many hours to go until the actual race, considering it's an early Sunday morning race for us living in Europe at least. But I've just been super busy lately, and that's why the video is out a little bit late. But it is what it is, so regardless of whether you're watching this before or after the actual race has taken place, I hope that the AI here can give us some good action again and see what the game thinks will happen in this race. Here you can see the bottom 10 in qualifying, and then into the top 10, Nasser and Maldonado both getting to Q3 here, which is a bit surprising. And then we have the Red Bulls and then the Williams cars, Raikkonen in 4th, Hamilton all the way down in 3rd, with Rosberg 2nd, so Sebastian Vettel has actually been given pole position here, which is interesting. You kind of have to say it's a week too late, after he obviously did get pole in Singapore in real life, but not quite here at Suzuka, where Rosberg was the man on pole, so at least I guess it's realistic that he starts ahead of Hamilton here. And the race is now underway here, some weird dust flying in the air as it is on this game, and Rosberg seems to have gotten a much better start than Sebastian Vettel, looking to the inside into turn 1, going side by side, Massa and Raikkonen as well side by side in the background, and Rosberg has his nose ahead, but they've both gone off the track. Rosberg squeezing Vettel off there, and Hamilton's taking the lead. Oh no, he actually hasn't. Hamilton's off the track as well. He was in the lead for a split second there, but then just forgot how to do that corner and dropped it back behind Rosberg and almost Vettel as well. They're going side by side now for second place, Hamilton and Vettel, and this is letting Rosberg build a little bit of a gap coming out of the S's, and I think Hamilton might just have gotten the better exit there, and Hamilton into second. So even though Vettel started on pole position for Ferrari, it's already Mercedes 1-2 here after half a lap, or even less than half a lap. There were several side-by-sides in the midfield as well throughout the SS section, but they've all settled down now into a nice line coming down towards the hairpin. I don't think we'll be seeing too many Kobayashi dive bombs into there from these guys, as the straight leading up to the hairpin isn't particularly long, and as we've seen in previous races, usually it is the long straights, especially the ones with DRS, that generate the side-by-side action with these AI drivers most of the time. But you never know. In the first Predicts race we did at Spa, we saw Hulkenberg pull off a Mark Webber overtaking to a Rouge, so you never know, these AI might surprise you at times. And here though is a long straight, and Daniel Ricciardo having a look at his teammates who coming towards 130R here. Ricciardo with much better speed down the straight. Kvyat trying to hang on around the outside of 130R and then got so close there. And they're holding up a huge train of cars as well. There's a Sauber and Lotus side by side behind them as well, but it looks like Ricciardo is going to get that position ahead of his teammate for 7th place. Already a huge gap forming up to the top 6, the Williams, Ferraris and Mercedes cars. And look at this train coming down towards turn 1, and Kvyat wants the position back in the Red Bull battle. He has claimed the inside into turn 1 here, but it looks like he's run a little bit wide onto the curb there, but he managed to slot himself back in ahead of Ricciardo. You have to say Kvyat got beaten quite comprehensively by Ricciardo last time out in Singapore, both in the Predicts race and also in real life, even though in real life he did have some bad luck with the safety cars. So I'm sure he'll be doing his best to win the Red Bull battle this time around. But if you'd see the gap there between the Mercedes cars, Lewis Hamilton trying to close the gap to Rosberg, and Alonso currently running 18th, which is basically last, only Will Stevens in the manor running behind him. Still have to say, it's such a shame to see a driver of Fernando Alonso's caliber all the way at the back, or you know, in the midfield of the races usually, as he really should be up there fighting for wins in a better car. But here we go, the battle of the Red Bulls once again, and again they're side by side through 130R without contact, and this time is that Ricciardo who has pulled himself ahead again. It is. Kvyat did not make it as hard for him this time, but I wonder if he will try to pass him back down the main straight again, just like Bottas is now trying on Felipe Massa. Is closing massively coming towards turn 1, and are going to be side by side. The Williams battle. Oh, Bottas squeezing Massa off the track, putting his angry hand up in the air, and he squeezed him off again. Bottas not leaving his teammate any room whatsoever, but Massa's hanging on in his battle for 5th place in the race, and Massa's actually pulling himself ahead there through the S's, unless Bottas can go around the outside of there. No, he seems to be on the back foot here now, Bottas. Oh, but he just changes all the time. Now Bottas has a good chance to run the outside though of Dunlop, and Massa lifts off the throttle there to avoid understeering into Bottas, and that has given Bottas that position. Some incredible side-by-side action from the Williams boys. Would love to see some of that in the race tomorrow. Williams looking pretty good again at Suzuka, unlike in Singapore where they were kind of the 4th best team. But here they obviously managed to qualify as the 2nd best team. Mercedes though back on top in real life qualifying at Suzuka, just like they are here in the race. And oh there, as we cut to a battle between Maldonado and Kvyat for 8th position. Maldonado's Mercedes engine making easy work of that Renault package of Daniel Kvyat. And that's quite interesting then, because while Ricciardo, Kvyat's teammate, has pulled way clear, Kvyat has now dropped back, and was nearly a move there between the Mercedes cars, but there is move going on between the Ferraris, and I think they made some contact as well. They're going through turns 1 and 2, but Vettel was ahead coming into the corner, and he's remained ahead, so Vettel has managed to defend there for the attack from Raikkonen, and Maldonado and Kvyat are still going at it here at the start of lap 4 with Felipe Nasser just behind, and this is the battle of the lower points in the top 10. Bit surprising, I guess, seeing Maldonado and Nasser doing this well. They haven't had too many points finishes this season. Nasser's had 4, and I believe Maldonado's had 2. And for the record, Maldonado has also had 8 DNFs. But that's just Maldonado. So here we go, back to the front, and Lewis Hamilton has completely caught up to Nico Rosberg now, clearly showing he has the pace, and I wonder if this could be kind of a preview of what's to come tomorrow, because with Nico Rosberg starting on pole, Lewis Hamilton starting in 2nd place, we could well get a battle between them, which I kind of would like. I mean, I know I mentioned last time in Singapore, I don't really want the Mercedes to be dominant out in front, but if they are, it would be nice to see the two teammates battle each other like they did at times last season, but we haven't really seen it this season in terms of back and forth battles on the track anyway. And here comes Lewis Hamilton into 130R. They're going to be side by side into 130R with Rosberg on the outside trying to hang on like Kvyat did on Ricciardo earlier, but they cannot do it, and Hamilton here has taken the lead from Nico Rosberg. The question now remains if Nico Rosberg has the pace to hang on onto his teammate. Now this is kind of my fear. If this happens tomorrow, if Lewis Hamilton gets past Nico Rosberg early on, we've seen several times this season that he can just go and pull away and not leave Nico any chance for the rest of the race. But here Nico coming right back at Lewis, and Lewis has gone wide to defend there, but he stayed ahead, running all 4 wheels off the track. A little bit of a cheeky track extend, and a tiny bit more on the exit there as well, turn 2. But Hamilton retaining his lead here as we were coming towards the halfway point of the race, towards the end of lap 5 now, out of 13 laps in this 25% race. And we go on board with Vettel, and I think that the battling between the Mercs have seen the Ferraris been able to keep up with them, and it's side by side again. I'm pretty sure that's Rosberg drafting past Hamilton, even easier for him to get past there with the draft down towards 130R than it was for Hamilton the lap before, to be honest. But let's see if we'll get the repeat now then. This time maybe Hamilton's turn. Oh, I was going to say to have a go into turn 1, but he goes into the pits instead. That's an interesting move. Hamilton pitting before Rosberg, and Vettel also going in before Raikkonen. So will any of them have any problems in the pits? Certainly not in the pit box. Vettel also a pretty decent stop by the looks of it. And the question now then is where will these guys come out when it comes to traffic? Massa in the pits as well. Because last time in Singapore, Lewis Hamilton pitted first there as well, got caught up in a lot of traffic on his outlap. And there are cars coming down the pit lane. There's quite a few that's gone into the pits, but there are both the McLarens there battling going into turn 1, and they're both gone ahead of Lewis Hamilton. I don't think though they're going to be close enough to hold him up too much. And I think that was Roman Grosjean as well in the pits, along with a load of the other guys that were in that midfield train. So the pit stops here can really shake the whole field up. I don't think we'll get a proper idea of where everyone is until after everyone has pitted. Nico Rosberg now at the end of the next lap goes into the pit lane along with Kimi Raikkonen, and this side-by-side action going into the 130R. Lovely overhead shot of Maldonado, failing to pass Daniel Kvyat, and that has completely bunched up this pack, which is the remainder of that midfield train, which is not pitted yet. Bottas also into the box, and I believe actually Daniel Kvyat has stayed out, so he could be taking the lead of the race. Same with Jenson Button. Those two, there goes Daniel Kvyat actually into the lead. And there is Jenson Button coming to very close to Raikkonen, and Button's off the circuit there on the outside, but he stays ahead of Kimi, and that could cause Kimi some problems, to be honest, potentially holding him up. But crucially for Nico Rosberg, he has gotten out ahead of Jenson Button, and wow! Yeah, I completely forgot about Lewis Hamilton who pitted on the lap before. He's been completely jumped by Rosberg by several seconds. That's a huge gap. I would have thought that Hamilton pitting earlier would gain a bit of time by doing the undercut, but it's worked completely the opposite. And Lewis Hamilton now having to contend with Kimi Raikkonen passing him instead, which he is doing right now into 130R, but Raikkonen does not want to give them position at all. Fully side by side go into the chicane, but Hamilton braking ever so slightly later. Raikkonen hanging around the outside of the second apex, and I do believe Raikkonen here is the man who should be getting DRS. He was behind at the detection point, and he does indeed, but not really gaining as much as you'd think. But he has the inside line though, and there we go, pulling ahead and Vettel cannot capitalize on the battle, and we got more battling between the Williams boys. Massa having jumped Bottas in the pits and forcing him wide, so Bottas is having to pass his teammate once more, and this time I swear Bottas did exactly that to Massa earlier in the race. Massa doing Bottas back here by forcing him off the track twice. It is literally roles reversed from their battle before, when it was Bottas in this position on the right, but that time Bottas managed to hang on and get ahead after this corner coming up here, but this time Bottas has just completely dominated Massa, I have to say. So Bottas looking in good form here, to be honest, relative to his teammate, which is realistic, not based on previous recent races, based on qualifying here, where Bottas got third, and there's more battling. Lewis Hamilton has basically scared Raikkonen off the track there, and now he's forced him wide as well. The AI really like to force people wide in the exit of turn 2 there, but somehow Raikkonen has got himself back ahead as a result of it. I don't know how much he managed to keep the speed there, but Hamilton's not giving up, and they're still side by side through the S's. I really wish we can see some battling like this through the S's tomorrow. I don't think though that we're going to see it as much as we are getting here, and Hamilton takes the position up to second again, but as you know, the longer these the longer Hamilton is battling with these Ferraris, the further ahead Rosberg is getting by running in clear air out in front. And you can barely, I mean, you can't see Rosberg at all in the shot there. He's completely gone several seconds ahead. Rosberg surely has his win in the bag, unless something crazy happens, as we know can happen, since, you know, if you've seen the Monza race. And what on earth is going on here? Button is basically stuck on the tyre of Perez there. He's turning towards him as well, but finally got free. Don't know how they managed to keep their car straight there, and Button, despite all that, being stuck on the Force India, has managed to get himself ahead through the chicane. But here comes the problem for Button. He has a Honda engine, and Perez has a Mercedes engine, and that is complete domination. Even though Button had the DRS there, Perez still managed to get himself ahead down the straight. That is incredible speed differences from the engines, and cool to see though Button battling it out for the final points position at the moment. You know, the McLaren on pace, you'd expect it to be down here with this group. And now he skipped all the way over to lap 11, and what on earth, that was just the quickest overtake I've ever seen. Raikkonen going blasting straight past Hamilton. He could not even put up a defense there. So it really isn't Hamilton's day. He is once again put under pressure from Ferraris, and trying to get it back now at 130R, could not manage to do it. Raikkonen keeping his line nicely and holding on there. So, you know, Rosberg just there started the final lap of the race. So, he's about 5 seconds ahead, I'd say, of this group. And with 2 laps to go, it looks like absolute domination from Rosberg here. I guess we'll see tomorrow if that turns out to be realistic. Hamilton, meanwhile, is still having to fight Raikkonen. Vettel has been, I swear Vettel, at least he's having a good show, is good old Seb. Not quite able to get involved, but at least he can sit back and just enjoy this battle, get some popcorn, and just enjoy his teammate Kimi Raikkonen just giving Hamilton the hardest time you'd ever see. And look at this, Button managing to fight back for the 10th place battle against Sergio Perez, getting very close here onto the main straight, but once again Button's Honda engine just doesn't have the power to keep up down the straight, and man, he's going to be put under pressure. He's 3 wide going into turn 1 with Maldonado, and Nasser getting involved, and Button, after trying to pass Perez for 10th, has dropped to 13th in the blink of an eye. Nasser passing Maldonado there, kind of off the track in a way, although then again Maldonado again forcing people wide. Oh, and not only forcing people wide, he's hit into the back of Nasser, both of them into a slide, and man, Nasser staying ahead, and Maldonado trying to use some of his old tricks there, trying his best to DNF another race this season. He has failed to do so, so he is, unfortunately for him, still having to drive to end the race. And the end of the race is indeed near, only just over a lap to go for Nico Rosberg, who's already past the chicane, and while these guys, Lewis Hamilton and the Ferraris, are still going at it. Vettel just having given up by this point, he's just dropped off the back of this too, a little bit. Rosberg untouchable at the moment. I don't think he's coming up to any traffic either, so it's up to Lewis Hamilton there to get second off Kimi Raikkonen on this final lap of the race. Can he do it already down the main straight? He's got the DRS flying in his slipstream up the inside into turn 1. We've seen him many times before, and he just does what Raikkonen did earlier, completely passed before they even reached the braking zone there. DRS showing his strength. You know, usually in these passes we've seen actually go side by side into turn 1, but this the last couple of passes there, it's been super easy with the DRS. And Hamilton back into the position where he's starting in real life, second place. I still have him as my prediction for the win at the moment, just based on the fact that Mercedes seem to be dominant here again, and that he has been dominant over Rosberg throughout most of this season. So I do think that Hamilton will be able to get past Rosberg at some point, either through the pit stops or off the line, or just by passing him. And speaking of passes, Nasser passing Sergio Perez for what I believe is the final points position, actually, 10th place. But here is the man of this F1 2015 predicts a Japanese Grand Prix race. Nico Rosberg dominates and crosses the line way clear out of the rest of the field, waving his hand and the Vettel finger there. The game thinks that he will win the race tomorrow, which would be from pole, even though he wasn't from pole here. Hamilton gets second, Raikkonen third, Vettel fourth, which is also where Vettel is starting tomorrow. Bottas finishes 5th for Williams ahead of Felipe Massa. I believe Ricciardo was 7th, and then we got the battle for 8th here actually. It's not over. Carlos Sainz drafting or slipstreaming his way past Daniel Kvyat before 1:30 on the final lap, and it's more frustration for the Russian in this race, not having at all had the pace to keep up with his teammate, and again dropping a position, although it did gain some time through the pit stops. But here we got another battle with Marcus Ericsson and Fernando Alonso, who have both been quite invisible in this race, to be honest, not really been involved with this huge group we're seeing here, of which Roman Grosjean is at the back of. I think Nasser held on to the final point position, and Ericsson did manage to defend the two-time world champion Fernando Alonso, who was driving the shitbox of McLaren Honda. And just to wrap it all up, Will Stevens crossing the line in his 19th position. No DNFs here, actually. I'm pretty sure that's the first predicts race we've done which hasn't had a DNF in it, or at least not had a crash that has led to damage. So there you have the order. I'm not going to go through it again, since I pretty much mentioned it as they cross the line. But the game thinks that Nico Rosberg will be able to hold on to the lead ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and the battle for the win in the actual real race should also, I reckon, be between those two drivers. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out, or if any of the Ferraris or Williams cars can actually get involved at all. But yeah, with that in mind, it's up to you now to please post your top 5 predictions for tomorrow's race in the comments below. That is, of course, if you've been able to watch this video before the actual race did take place, because, you know, I didn't leave you many hours to do it, so I do apologize for that again. But if you did watch this early enough to do the prediction before the race, then I salute you, and well done. And for the previous race in Singapore, it was a 4-way tie in terms of the predictions in the comments, which was between Sid Kumar Kaulmhin Kalinan, a bit unsure about the pronunciation there, also Davide Vagnoni and Francis McGinn. So well done to you 4, you managed to predict the podium positions in the complete correct order from Singapore. Not quite 4th and 5th place though, with Hamilton DNFing and Kvyat outside the top 5, but nobody else got 3 correctly like you guys did, so fair play to you and well done. And with that in mind, I will bid you farewell, because I now need to go to bed to actually be able to get up for the real life race tomorrow morning. So I hope you have a good time during the race and that you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Goodbye.